Just when you thought you were alone, posted to the ghosts subreddit by littlebit_, the Redditor notes that he and a friend on an investigation of an abandoned church in the middle of nowhere. He explains that his friend had gone to the parking lot on the other side of the building. He had stepped out to call his wife, he writes, and didn't return inside the building for another 10 minutes. Didn't even see this footage until after we had left. Creepy as heck. The footage shows a figure's head appearing in the window pane of the door several times, the short dark peering in at him. Some in the comments suggest it's probably just his friend outside, but as the Redditor explains, his friend wasn't in the building. He thinks the figure looks like a nun or a woman that, if you look closely, the face of the figure appears ghostly white. A close-up shot of the face does indeed suggest that appearance. Is this a ghost? A living person? A stranger or his friend? The question is, can there be a logical explanation to this figure's presence, or are we dealing with the paranormal yet again? A girl and the person filming were innocently playing around outside, but they were not alone. Published to YouTube in May of 2019, nightmares abound after watching this video, which is gaining attention in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. The clip shows a girl playing with a ball outside a yellow fenced-in building. She runs up to the fence, behind which a pair of swings are wrapped together in knots. After a moment, the girl points at something or someone behind the camera person, who turns around to see what she's indicating. There is no one in the distance across the field, but there is someone right behind her. The ghoul of a girl appears semi-transparent as the camera shot falls. We can only imagine the camera person fled in fear from this thing she was not meant to see. Tag, you're it. Game over. Multiple instances of objects moving on their own has a YouTuber named Callum Tonner convinced that his Seattle house is haunted by a fearsome poltergeist. Lots of bizarre activity is frequently caught on camera, so I'm going to analyze the top 5 videos of best paranormal evidence. In the first weird video, he claims to find a coat hanger swinging back and forth in the closet. I will say that they could have pushed the object themselves before recording and then pretended it was a ghost. Normally I would say this video is fake, except this is far from the only scary event in which objects were caught on camera moving on their own, and the other videos are much harder to explain. Later that night, with the haunted closet behind him and its doors open, a completely different object is caught moving on camera on its own.
What was that?
Even if you were moving a magnetic object under the table, I still don't think it would be strong enough to move the other objects through the heavy wooden desk. He creates the paranormal experiment again 4 nights later, and if you weren't able to tell what the 2 objects are, it's a flashlight moving across a phone that's turned on. And here's the thing, any magnetic force strong enough to move an object that large should also cause damage to the phone, which it doesn't. The phone is fine, and therefore I think a ghost is moving the flashlight. 4 more nights later, the ghost has apparently taken to shuffling through his private card collection. And even more haunting paranormal activity is caught on camera without any explanation. If you were thinking that he bent the cards or something to make them fall over, but not what's happening, you can see more of the cards in this video. They look perfectly straight and evenly balanced, so tell me how these sturdy objects are caught on tape moving. Paranormal activity is all I can think for these super creepy and mysterious events, but I'm open to any other explanation.
There's like screaming or something in this tunnel. I'm gonna go check it out.
You may think you're ready for this list, but some scary videos you're just not meant to see. The boy in this video says he hears something in this tunnel that sounds to him like a scream, so he decides to go investigate. But no, the boy enters the darkness with nothing but a void at the end of it. For a while, all you hear is his own footsteps. Then you hear this. Sounds like Alien vs. Predator up in here. The kid stops for a moment, and in that quiet, a couple footsteps splash through the water. He then says hello to the creature he cannot see before heading forward again, but he doesn't get very far. The rattling sound echoes throughout the tunnel before the thing starts to screech in a way that makes your insides tremble. As he runs, the creature quiets for a time but lets out a final terrifying screech as the boy exits the tunnel, likely wondering what in the world he almost happened upon. Is this for real? If so, what lies in the depths of this underground? Dark Dominator thinks it's the rake, while the last one suggests it's a feral hog, but I've never heard a rattle like that from a hog before. Lesson learned: the next time you hear screaming in the darkness, it's best to run in the opposite direction. This urban explorer thinks he's in an abandoned building. Maybe not. Published by Bulgarian channel Peony Studio in December of 2020. The scary video shows the cameraman standing in a stairwell. He hears something above him that sounds like footsteps. He looks up. After a moment, a hooded figure moves into view, just one floor up, blocking the sunlight from a window above. He stands there and they stare at each other for a moment. Then, terrified, the cameraman takes off running. Who is this figure, and what does it want? As it appears for now, we will never know. Jan Flink heads to a crumbling cluster of haunted cabins in his home country of Finland. His flashlight cuts out 6 times as soon as he reaches the back of the first cabin. He is still holding it though, so maybe he is doing it himself. Up in the attic, he finds this strange setup, a single bowl on a makeshift sleeping area, made of thin wood. Only one shoe is never a good sign. He goes outside and his flashlight starts messing up some more, but look behind him right before it does.
Should I just say bye? Or see you again in next video. Bye.
A woman in red with long black hair is looking at him. It wouldn't be too hard to fake this, and the fact that nothing happens for 44 minutes until the very end of this video makes me suspicious, but Jan Flink claims that this is the spirit of a woman who had a bad encounter with a bear in 1964 and passed away. It's been years since the video was posted, and as far as I've been able to research, he never said it was fake. Pripyat Amusement Park is an abandoned park in the Chernobyl region. It was abandoned before its planned grand opening after the meltdown that contaminated the area in 1986. Posted to TikTok by Edwin Calderon608, this TikToker is wondering what this person is doing in the highly contaminated park. The deserted Ferris wheel looks particularly gloomy, standing still with no one on it. That is until the viewer zooms in on Google Earth to see a male figure standing in the service box beside the ride. The man isn't armored against the radiation that still pollutes the area. He is completely unprotected against it, leaving me to wonder if he's perhaps superhuman. Anyone want to risk a visit to ask him? No, that'd be a terrible idea. A group of divers go exploring off Miller's Point in South Africa, a place where giant sea life can pose quite a problem, but it's not what they find that makes this diving video scary, so much as what it is they lose. At 4 minutes and 17 seconds, one of them starts to thrash around and has to be extracted by 2 friends. He has lost his sense of direction because everything is one color, no floor, no ceiling, and easy to lose track of unless you keep focus. Now up has become down, left has become right. He has no idea where he is and his mind is spinning, a condition known as vertigo. Once you are in this confused state, it's easy to keep swimming farther down because you think you are going to reach the surface at any moment. Eventually, the underwater pressure becomes too much to handle and you can guess the rest. When they bring him to the surface, you can see that it's a good thing they intervened in time. He later says he blacked out and doesn't remember any of the scary moments they've caught on camera. There was little chance of him reaching the surface on his own, and he pretty much owes them his life. So take this video as an example why you should never go diving alone unless you want to risk the same thing happening to you with no one to save your life. An adventurer in India sees something truly chilling.
ये तो वही चुड़ैल है। ये कोई औरत खड़ी हुई है नीचे। हम छत के ऊपर आए हैं कैमरे उतारने के लिए और ये औरत नीचे खड़ी हुई है।
He diverts his horrified gaze, and when he looks up, it's gone, but not for long.
ये आप देख सकते हैं, ये कमरे भी आप देख सकते हैं लॉक किए हुए हैं इन्होंने। ये आप सुन सकते हैं।
Red blotches on the curtains mark where an apparition has touched the cloth. I did not see these handprints here moments before. He goes outside and finds a drastic change of weather, further evidence of displeasing a powerful spirit.
ये आप देख सकते हैं, ये आवाज़ें भी आप सुन सकते हैं।
He turns around to go inside for shelter, only to be greeted by the sound of a child's voice through a partially open door.
अभी दोस्तों इधर से जा रहे हैं, इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट टाइम हम जब आएंगे किसी बुजुर्ग को साथ में लेकर आएंगे।
He wisely decides to wait out the storm outside and does not go back in. I suppose he figures it would be quicker and less scary to chance it with the lightning, rather than return to whatever poltergeist activity is waiting for him there. A YouTube explorer named Adventures with Josh tracks what he later describes as a strange creature sighted while exploring an abandoned house in the middle of some rather scary woods at night. The structure he finds is no bigger than a doghouse and is empty upon investigation, but when he turns around and looks up, he sees it, and it sees him.
What is it? That thing is freaky. Hello?
A mysterious creature with glowing white eyes stares down without a word. I know it's a creature and not someone wearing night vision goggles, because the glowing blank eyes blink multiple times.
I can't even tell what animal that is. It doesn't look like a possum.
A possum was my next guess, but apparently the eyes are too far apart for it to be one. The brow resembles a human more than an animal. I don't know what this strange creature sighting is, but it does seem to be waiting for him to leave, so it can go back to its creepy abandoned home in the middle of the woods. Alan Kloss likes cars, but beyond that, he also likes exploring abandoned places that are creepy, really creepy. One such exploration takes place at a bridge in Walnut Port, Pennsylvania, where a woman in white fell into the canal and did not come out alive. Notice how at 3 minutes and 37 seconds the camera refuses to focus on the bridge, a sign of the supernatural some would say. They move their ghost hunting equipment to the edge of the water and get a strong paranormal response. The flashlight turns on by itself, and they use 2 different pieces of paranormal equipment to independently verify the presence of something supernatural there with them. This seems like it could be the exact location where she went under.
Look, alright, stopped back here.
And judging by the way his ghost meter goes crazy here at 37 minutes and 34 seconds, I'd say this is either an underground utility wire or the place where she was laid to rest.
Red, orange, orange, orange.
Hit red?
Yeah.
You actually hit red.
Orange, red, red, red,
Wow.
red.
Oh my.
What do you think they've discovered? This unnerving doorbell cam footage was taken somewhere in New Mexico. A random person walks up to a house in the middle of the night and just basically goes crazy without warning. They appear to have lost all sense of reason as they first yank on the doorbell cam and then start to scale the wall. It's unclear if they are really trying to gain access to the house itself or if they are just out of their minds and doing whatever spontaneously comes next. After a while, they come back into view and kind of wobble around. This next part sounds like they might have even fallen over, but I'm not exactly sure. Overall, the strange man seems more confused than necessarily looking to cause havoc, but I would still not want to encounter this potential maniac either way. Built in 1832, the Patrick Taylor Cottage is the most haunted and oldest house in Western Australia. Poltergeist activity has been reported every September, and some claim to have seen an apparition in military uniform with an arm sling. Many think the apparition is Major Frederick Ingoldby, a former tenant who passed away in the home in September of 1942. But why does he still haunt the place? Published by Amy's Crypt in January of 2022, Amy went to find out after the Albany Historical Society allowed her in after hours to investigate. The first activity is subtle, a light tap and a slight boom to see if these investigators are awake.
I heard that also.
Yeah, just had a little tap in here. To anyone around this device?
After warming up their paranormal devices, a clock chiming sound is heard through the device.
That sounded like a clock.
It did it not?
Yeah.
There is a grandfather clock in the room. When they ask about the clock, they hear a light tap again.
I want to know about this clock.
Ooh, I heard that. That definitely came from in that room, huh?
They also hear footsteps and a knock.
I hear footsteps. I did hear a knock in there.
Although the sounds are always distant, like the spirit is avoiding them. Where is this reticent spirit? Is the Major trying to make his presence known while keeping these intruders at arm's length? A YouTuber named Faster Than Pasta is experimenting with a homemade Ouija board and manages to contact a 44-year-old spirit named Simon. Simon doesn't appear to be very happy about being summoned and interrogated by some kids, so he spells out his displeasure.
Do you want to be friends? We're so sorry.
Less than 10 minutes later, Faster Than Pasta begins to look different and feel strange. She looks at her hands as though they are foreign objects, and then her head goes down. Her knees give out and she falls to the ground, woozy. When she recovers, she looks over at her friend Jimmy only to discover that now he is the one acting strange. It seems as if Simon the spirit is switching between both of them at will.
Jimmy, what are you doing? What happened?
Eventually, Jimmy too passes out with absolutely no recollection of what happened upon waking. Tell me if you think they are really getting possessed or just acting. Parts of this video look pretty convincing, but I can't say for sure. Bernie DMJ1 is deleting security cam videos off his Ring app when he sees something really bizarre walk across his driveway. Or rather, it's what he doesn't see. The presence of a reflection, but the lack of a body to cause it. A shadow passes in front of the car and yet no one can be seen. He says this is a ghost or a shadow figure sighting for certain, but I'd like to offer a non-paranormal explanation. Maybe this is the shadow of someone across the street. Don't Let Her In. Published in November of 2021 by Taja Fact. This CCTV footage is chilling. Two women are at work in a computer lab when one of them leaves. After a moment, the sliding door slams shut, scaring the young woman who is left alone. Alarmed, she turns in her seat towards the door but later returns to her work. Shortly after, the lights start flickering on and off in the hallway, and a creepy figure is standing in the doorway. It looks like a young woman in white, with her dark hair hanging over her face. When the woman is finally alerted to the figure's presence, she slowly gets up to go look, although we're left to wonder what happens next. Maybe we shouldn't find out. Maintenance technician is servicing the famous Tower of Terror ride. One day, all alone. According to the surveillance video, however, he may not have been so alone after all. A phantom-like figure briefly appears in the seat directly behind the mechanic, but he doesn't notice and keeps going down a safety checklist of some sort. Then, about a minute later, look what happens about 4 chairs to the left of where he's sitting. Some people are saying that this is a camera malfunction, but others believe a spirit was trying to get his attention twice and failed. I did some research and found that the Tower of Terror ride has apparently caused a small number of reported heart and brain problems over the years since 2005. Let me know if you think one of these unfortunate passengers is now haunting the ride. An urban exploration and paranormal investigation channel called SCPC Ghost makes a video about an abandoned house in Colton, California for no reason other than he thinks it looks interesting enough to record on camera. He videos the outside of the house from some different angles for a while and then decides it's time to explore the inside. The inside is well lit, and yet there is a mysterious moving shadow that may or may not be paranormal. The shadow goes away, and that's when he hears a soft, creepy noise.
Hello? Anybody here?
Nobody responds, and so he decides to fully investigate the abandoned house for evidence of the paranormal. In the kitchen, he records what could be a small pale ghost sighting in the window. In the back of the abandoned house, he finds what could be a secret room on the other side of this brick wall. There's an opening that's too small to climb through, but small enough to drop food into, like someone was held captive.
It's crazy. The toilet.
And the marks on this door shown at 2 minutes likewise look like someone tried to claw their way out. It's a small search, and he's about to leave when he realizes there's one final creepy dark room to explore for paranormal evidence. He does not get a single step inside before he finds out this abandoned house is not so abandoned after all.
I can't see nothing. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
A voice in the darkness scares him, and he does not look inside to see who it belongs to. Had he checked, he might have found the room was empty, and that the woman's voice was nothing more than an EVP caught on camera. Instead, he sidesteps into the other room and, in doing so, accidentally records a mysterious moving shadow figure on the way out.
Just taking some pictures of the property. I'll be out here in a second, alright? Scared me.
I don't know if this is a paranormal ghost encounter or a woman who is going through hard times and trying to hide. All I know is that a voice doesn't have to sound scary to be terrifying, at least not when it's coming from the darkest corners of this sad little abandoned home. A team of ghost investigators patrol through a dark farmhouse at 3 a.m. and set up their equipment. Suddenly, their thoughts are interrupted by an overwhelmingly powerful force.
What's that?
What was that?
An adjacent door flies open soon as they shine their flashlight up into the attic. The team feels like they are being watched from something outside. They're talking about what to do next when they witness another display of brute force.
We get to experience an EVP session in a creepy abandoned house, man.
Something smashes the window out and they see what appears to be a white apparition slowly walking away. The object has no distinct shape and somehow seems to be both near and far at the same time.
What the was that? Holy shit! Somebody out there!
All of them scramble to the car and take one last look as they leave. It's really hard to see, but zoom in on the window and you'll see a head move away on the left side. Let me know if you see what I mean or not. It's hard to say if this video is really paranormal or simply due to a baby's loose grip. Keisha Vasquez is singing to her child when, in her eyes, a hairbrush is ripped from her daughter's hands. Watch the moment it happens and tell me if you think she dropped the brush or if it was taken by an unseen force.
Bebé, que linda, que bella.
At first, I was inclined to write this off as a fumble, but notice how at approximately 10 seconds, an orb crawls along the right side of the screen seconds before the hairbrush leaves her hands, followed by more orbs immediately afterwards. Since these orbs could be an indication of the supernatural, I think either explanation holds weight, and I look forward to getting your thoughts. Thank you so much for getting me to 30,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000 subscribers next. Thank you.